Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Clara, and today we're here to talk about the Natasha Denona Sculpt and Glow palette. This is in the shade Light Medium. Today I'm doing something just a little bit different. I haven't really done a talk through demo first impressions video, but I've kind of been enjoying watching them, so I thought that's what we'd do today. It's not a true first impressions because I have been playing with the powders in this. Something I really like about this container is that the creams are covered by their own little plastic shield here, and it really protects them, it keeps them from drying out, and it keeps the powders from getting into the creams, so that's really, really great. Even though this came out to about $90 with tax, it does have two of her most popular products in it. These aren't new products, but they are included in the palette. Her Face Glow Shimmer is a really, really popular cream product of hers that gives a kind of beautiful natural highlight. Then the All Over Shimmer Powder, or Shimmer in Powder, that's included down here. These are both in the lighter shade. They do have 3 different shades of those, I believe. But actually buying these two individually, which I was also interested in, costs about the same, even though you do get more if you buy them individually than you get in this palette. But if you pay the same amount as you were going to pay for checking out her two more popular products, you can also get these other shades basically for free. So I thought this would be a great way to try out more of her products. And as you can see, it also has this giant mirror, which is really great. So what I have done today for my base is I've used a more full coverage foundation because I've been feeling a little bit under the weather, so my skin is acting up. I used the Marc Jacobs Remarkable foundation. This highlighting cream does seem to be pretty brightening compared to the other side, and I'm not really seeing it mess with the foundation at all. It's not getting into pores or getting into too many lines, though under my eye it is kind of settling a little bit. You can see that the highlighting cream is actually pretty white, but I'm going to sort of leave it as it is because I know that I've tried the Japanese pressed powder and that's about the same as my normal skin tone, so that should tone things down just a little bit. I will say that it has pretty good coverage actually, but it's not really cakey or heavy like some concealers can sometimes be. It's sort of almost like a medium foundation kind of coverage. And I like it. It goes on really smooth even over the foundation. Sometimes when you apply creams over your foundation, they can take it off in certain areas, but I've actually noticed it making my foundation look smoother. Of course, part of that is due to using a sponge. I do think it is quite brightening. It has a really nice sort of consistency and texture, and it doesn't really take off the foundation. Now let's go in and try this contour cream. And I'm just going to take a little bit just right on the tip of the Beauty Blender. You have to be a little bit careful with things like contour if you do have some texture or pigmentation on your cheeks. This is a pretty warm contour cream. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Hopefully once it's all on, it'll end up looking a little bit better. I think this side is looking a little bit better. Applied lighter, it doesn't look quite so warm, but I don't know, I'm used to more of my Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powder, and that's more on the grayish brown side, so I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this yet. I am seeing a little bit of the highlighting cream sort of crease up under my eyes. I haven't set it yet though, so we'll see if it keeps creasing after I set it. My initial thoughts on the contour cream is that it is a little bit warm for my personal preference, but it does blend out really nicely and it's not really disrupting the foundation underneath it, so that is a plus. I wouldn't personally run out and buy the contour cream by itself, but in the palette I think it does work okay. Let's use the Face Glow Shimmer. And Natasha's tips for using this on her YouTube channel are, she said, just put a little bit onto a sponge. If you put too much of this cream on the sponge, she said it will sort of start to remove your foundation. So just kind of lightly build it. I'm seeing a little bit of kind of a natural glow. It does look a little bit of a pinky champagne color. It has kind of almost a wet look. You definitely don't see any sparkle or glitter. It just makes your skin have a really nice kind of shine to it. Even if you look really up close with these products, it's not gonna look like there's little pieces of glitter or sparkle or anything like that. All right, so let's now set it with the Japanese pressed powder and this powder brush. I don't think I've ever told you guys my secret. This is my favorite powder brush. It's Mac Studio, and it was like $3 at Marshall's. I don't know, I was like in the checkout aisle and I saw it, and I'd been looking for just like a really, really light, not dense powder brush, because I feel like it's really easy to get cakey when you put powder on with like a thick powder brush. And I love this. If you happen to be in like a Marshall's and you see the Mac Studio powder brush, you should pick it up. Their other brushes are not very good, but this one is really good. Now you know my secret. So let's apply the pressed powder. I'm just gonna try to set underneath my eyes a little bit because that highlighting cream is really creasing up on me. Granted, my skin is really, really oily, especially since it's summertime right now. It's just extremely oily. I can't get anything not to crease on me, but we will give it a fair shot. And I'm gonna also set my foundation because for some reason it's starting to sort of crease up on me a little bit here. I think I may have put too much around there. All right. So we'll just give this all a nice good setting with the Japanese pressed powder. The powder is really, really beautiful. It's very finely milled. I have used this before and it does set your makeup pretty well. It doesn't really, again, it doesn't settle into pores and it doesn't look like cakey or heavy on the face. I do feel like I'm wearing powder though, but when I look at it, it really doesn't look powdery. I will say that after I applied the powder, I can see that it did disturb a little bit of my foundation, like here and here where I have a couple really, really bad zits I've been trying to cover. But I'm seeing that my foundation has stopped kind of creasing in the lines. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's not really creasing right now. Let's try out some more contour sculpting powder. And I like this brush quite a bit for contouring. It's the Luxie Precision Angle Contour, yes. And it is number 650 if you're looking for it. Here, I don't want to go in with too much powder right away. I like the color of this better. I feel like the cream is almost a little bit orange. This one is still kind of like on the warm neutral side of brown, but it's not so warm that it looks orange, you know? This one looks okay. And this one is the one that I have tried out before and I really, really liked it. I thought it gave such a natural look. When I'm blending it now, I'm still seeing that it blends really nice, and also I feel like the color is a lot more natural. I'm going to go back into the Japanese pressed powder, this time with a beauty blender, and I'm just going to sort of clean up underneath the contour. You know, it's really a little bit difficult to clean up with this powder because the powder is a little bit darker than my foundation right now, so that's not really helping. Let me get out my other Charlotte Tilbury powder. I have yet to review this powder, I think. I'm not sure if you can tell if I like it or not. I don't think I've used it very much. I promise you guys, I've been like promising you guys brand reviews and stuff of Charlotte Tilbury forever. I will eventually get to it. I'm so sorry, I'm terrible, aren't I? I'm gonna go into the All Over Glow Shimmer and Powder now, and I'm taking my Luxie 512 small contouring brush. I really love the color of this highlighter because it's kind of, it's like a light champagne, but it has a little bit of a pink undertone to it. So I feel like it's just really, really flattering on a lot of people. It's really pretty. A lot of people, when I was watching other reviews on just these single products before the palette came out, they were saying if you could buy like one product from her glow collection, they'd recommend going for either the cream shimmer or the powder, what's it called? All Over Glow Shimmer in Powder. That is a really long name. The glow powder, as opposed to the cream. They were recommending more that you pick up the cream because it looks more like natural and intense or something like that at the same time. But I find that maybe if you are like a makeup artist, you might get more use out of the cream. But if you find that you have a little bit of a hard time applying like cream products over foundation, Or if you're just somebody who's more oily, then I would definitely recommend the powder over the cream. I think that's probably my favorite product in the palette. Somebody take this powder away from me! I can't stop applying highlighter! It's really pretty. I just feel like I have to keep going. Maybe I should stop. Alright, so you can see that it does build to a pretty intense highlight. I will say that I feel like these products have taken off a little bit of my foundation and my concealer. I'm not really that mad about that because I feel like that's normally a problem for me, just because my skin is really oily. Even if I do set it with a powder, it tends to move around a little bit. I'm going to go in with my YSL Passione blush. It's also called shade 06, and my Bobbi Brown blush brush. Bobbi Brown blush brush. I really like this color. It's a really nice kind of like dusty pink coral color with a little bit of a golden sheen. And I really like the consistency of this powder. It's really soft and it does blend really well. A few things that I am noticing when I look at my makeup close up, it is starting to crease a little bit under my eyes. Now I don't think this is the fault of the Japanese pressed powder. I do think that it's the highlighting cream because it's kind of emollient. So it's sort of sliding around a little bit. It's definitely set the lines around my mouth a little bit better because the highlighting cream wasn't there. I want to kind of go through this palette and rank the products in order of the ones that I think are the most worth it. The thing that I like the least in this palette is the contour cream. Now I did find that it blended really nicely. It didn't look like patchy or anything. It was really even. It didn't take off foundation. So that's all good. But I feel like unless you're very warm in skin tone, this is going to be too warm and orangey for you. The second thing that I'll say maybe is a pass is this highlighting cream. I did find it was really, really brightening. It actually seemed to have a little bit more of a pink undertone when it was on my skin, even though it looks very yellow in the pan because I'm a pretty yellow person. It was really brightening, don't get me wrong, but it just feels too emollient, like it's sliding around on there. So unless you have very dry skin, I would be a little bit concerned about this one. It feels slipperier than the other two even. Now the third from the bottom would be this Japanese pressed powder. I can kind of feel like there's powder on my face when I apply this, and that's not really the feeling that I get from my Charlotte Tilbury powder. This is called the Airbrush Flawless Finish powder. This is in the shade 1, which is their lightest shade. And I believe this is the lightest shade of the Japanese pressed powder, and even at an NW20, this is still too dark for me. I feel like in this light medium contour palette, she probably should have picked a slightly lighter shade so that you can at least set more of like your under eyes with it, because I'm sure most of us have a powder that we regularly set our face with anyway. So to have something that was a little bit more brightening for the under eye area would have been nice in this palette. Now moving to the half of the palette that I actually really enjoyed is the contour sculpting powder. I think this looks really, really natural. It's easy to blend. It takes off my foundation less than other powders that I've tried. Blended really well, and I do like the color quite a bit. It's a little bit cooler toned on the face than it looks in the pan, without being like too gray. By the way, just from looking into the pan on this one, I do see little like pieces of shimmer, but I don't see them at all on the face. This whole palette is very, very natural looking. You will not see pieces of glitter, so don't be worried about that at all. Moving on to the top two contenders, I do like this Face Glow Cream Shimmer. I feel like it's a little bit difficult to build up because it is a cream, and most of us are applying it on top of foundation. The color is nice, the glow is really natural, and again, it doesn't have like the shimmery pieces. It just kind of looks like a wet kind of shine to your face. My favorite thing from this palette is the All Over Glow Shimmer in Powder. This is just so beautiful. It's just the perfect color. It's like champagne with a little bit of pink and a little bit of kind of a very slight like golden tone in it. Just I feel like it's so flattering across so many different like skin tones. I would highly recommend this one. Really easy to build. You can see that it looks really bright on the cheeks even though it started out very natural looking. As for the scent, I'm finding it does have just a hint of like a light floral scent to the palette, but I don't smell it at all unless I like stick my nose into the palette, so I don't think that's something you have to worry about when you apply. I was really, really looking forward to picking up some Natasha Denona products because she's really known for her beautiful kind of glowing skin, and I do think that these products have achieved that natural glowing skin kind of look. Individually, Individually though, I do have certain complaints about each of the products. I wouldn't say that they're all like a 10 out of 10. If I were buying them individually, I would not buy all of those products. So I do think the value of this palette to you depends on how many of these products you would be interested in picking up kind of by themselves. If you're already thinking about picking up a couple of these products individually, you might as well get the palette because it's like a $5 difference or something very close. You could try out the other shades and who knows, you might really end up loving them. And if you're really just interested in one product from this palette, then maybe just go for that one and save yourself a little bit of money. There are a lot of contour palettes out there, and I feel like my favorites that I've been reaching for a lot are actually my Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow in light medium. I use that one pretty much all the time when I want to contour. I don't use the highlight from that palette quite as much because I have a lot of other highlights that I really, really love. And I also find myself sometimes reaching for my Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powder. That one is a little bit on the grayer side, so I feel like I like the color of the Charlotte Tilbury one slightly better. So if you're looking for just like a really simple like contour product, those are a couple other really good ones that I enjoy. I do think the Natasha Denona Sculpt and Glow is a really beautiful palette, but you also have other options out there, so just keep that in mind in your shopping. And I hope that you have found this really helpful. Let me know if you've enjoyed this kind of different format of like a talk-through demo. I'm not sure if it's a little weird, I've never done this before. I did pick up another Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette, and I hope you guys know that I will always be honest with you. If you guys have tried any of Natasha Denona's products, then please leave me a message in the comments below just letting me know how you liked them. And stay tuned for more Natasha Denona reviews. I will talk to you really soon, and I hope that you're all having a wonderful day. Bye!